Hello, everyone, and we are live, episode 24 of the Fitness Business Growth Podcast. I'm very honored to have a multi-six-figure online trainer today. Jake, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Really good, mate. We're going to cover the six-figure business, the laptop lifestyle, having partners, everything you need to know if you want to be an online coach and have success in the industry. Cue the intro.
Welcome to the Fitness Business Growth Podcast, a podcast run by gym owners for gym owners. My name is Mitch, and along with Jamie, we are your hosts, and we will be discussing all the important things that you need to run a successful fitness business. From marketing to lead generation to sales to retention to staff and much, much more. So if you are a fitness business owner, then this is for you. We hope you enjoy the following episode, and we will speak with you soon.
And we're back, Jake. How are you, mate?
Not too bad. That was a cool intro.
Thanks, mate. I did that in Canva myself. I'm a master of all trades.
Love it.
Well, mate, I'm very, very honored to have you on the podcast today for a few reasons. There are a lot of 10K a month coaches online, but you are one of them, like legitimately one of them. And you've duplicated it for more than 1 month, more than 2 months for a few years now. And from being in the industry, lots of online coaches can have that one epic week. But you guys have legitimately created an online coaching business. And I've just come on board recently to help you with a few things. But mate, firstly, congratulations. It is not an easy feat to accomplish.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a bit of a journey to this date, but you got to live, learn, and then the rewards start to get a little bit easier.
Cool, mate. Well, we were actually brought together by Jason Mutli, a mutual friend of ours. So I'm going to have him on the podcast very, very soon. But we've gotten so deep in the weed of the marketing, the numbers, LTV, that I'm actually not really sure of the Fitribe story and how you went from, I guess, before Fitribe, where you were PT, and what led you to wanting to have an online business. So, Jake, give us the elevator pitch. 3 minutes. What happened?
Yeah, definitely. So I run Fitribe with my partner and business partner. So Jade is my partner, and then Paige is our business partner. Long story short, Paige and I actually used to run a gym on the Gold Coast, and we did that for a good couple of years. That gym was a franchise. The franchise went downhill, and from there, it sort of made us want to get back into the online space. I'd sort of dabbled in it many years prior to that. So, done sort of, when we were running the gym, when COVID happened, things like that. So sort of dabbled in then, but always, been interested in the online space. Fitribe was literally born within a 3-day weekend. We actually had a 3-day holiday booked about 6 months prior. And then we all ended up leaving the business we were in prior. And then, that weekend we were like, we're meant to go away on a holiday. And then 3 days later, we started Fitribe on a Monday, and then really never looked back. We always wanted to have the flexibility of online, less stress than running a gym. Not saying that we all actually really enjoyed running the gym. Paige, who's our business partner, has always joked wanting to open another one. Jade and myself, that's definitely not the route we want to go down.
What gym were you working in, mate? What was the franchise?
It was called 5 Element Fitness. So we were running the Southport location, but then we all ended up working for the corporate side, and that business now is gone under. But it did teach us a lot of skills, and we are very appreciative of what we did learn, whilst working for them. And then that's where we started Fitribe, and in the last now it's been. We started in March last year, so now we've been running for just over a year and a bit now. And within that year, turned over $250,000. Within that, we traveled Europe for 6 months. So we were crushing 20K months. Plus, when we were traveling Europe, we were getting up at like 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning to work, and then we'd finish at about midday, because that was when Australians were going to bed, and then we'd go travel and sort of do our thing. And that's where we're here today.
Cool, what a story. So making 20K a month traveling around Europe, that sounds like a nice Facebook ad to me.
It was absolutely crazy. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then we ended up coming back earlier this year because my partner Jade is pregnant. So we just thought the whole, traveling would put it on hold for a little bit. Now we're crushing it now back in Australia.
It's interesting, mate. I cannot recall ever meeting a successful online trainer that wasn't a successful PT first, or that wasn't involved in some sort of gym. And I think if someone goes straight from no business to opening their own business, they miss out on so much training. Like, I worked at Fitness First. It was a fucking, it was the Wolf of Wall Street in there. It was a no fooling call center. And just, you understand that running a fitness business isn't about the fitness. It's actually about the business of fitness. And I think that that experience in big box clubs is critical, whether you're going to open your own gym or do online. Now, Paige wants to open a gym. I love gyms. I can help you grow the gym. Why are you and Jade not about that? Obviously going to be a dad, so congratulations. But I guess what made you want to go online and steer away from gyms in general?
Like I said, like we did love, and I loved running classes. Like, obviously the studio we ran was a group training studio, and I guess it's just the overheads, like the overheads of running a gym, and our gym was very successful when we were running it. We were having huge months, upwards of over, I think we ended up peaking at about just shy of 320 members in a group training studio. So yeah, we were crushing that as well, just because we're always, very good at calls, DMs, all those things that generate a very successful, business. But yeah, I guess it's just the overheads. That's really our biggest thing. Being locked into, rents was always a killer. There was always a lot of external factors that, we'd have a plan to follow and we're crushing the month, but then another bill would randomly come up. And I guess with what we do now, it's just, we have freedom. That was always a big thing of wanting to start Fitribe, was having the luxury to, that's why we travel, to prove that we could still do what we did whilst traveling. Obviously, our focus of coming back was to really ramp it up to get it to that next level. Because, as much as traveling is fun, we weren't building our business. We were just keeping it rolling, and it still was doing well, but it wasn't taking that next step that we're currently taking over the last couple of months now.
Yeah, so I guess last year you were living the laptop lifestyle, the 10, 15, 20K a month while traveling around Europe, everything people dream of. And now it's more about, now for me being on the team, you've got proof of concept. So what you're doing is working. You have a good brand, people resonate with it. And now it's going from 20K a month to 40 to 50 to maybe even 100.
Yeah, literally, like the last month we're currently 6 days in. I was just looking at some numbers this morning. We've ready up to just 25K in the first 6 days. So last month was our biggest ever month. We hit 33K, and we're 6 days in, and probably going to break it within literally today. We could actually break it today, which is crazy. We've got a lot of Zooms booked later today, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I had my good friend James on the other day. He does multi-seven figures, done it for years. And even, I said this before, and I'll say it again, it is very hard for people to hear that number, 25K in 6 days, for people that have never made an online sale, right? So we're going to get deep into the numbers later on and go through like where it's happened, where you've made the improvements. But I have to know, mate, 320 members, now the gym's closed down. What the bloody hell happened?
It's a very interesting conversation. So yeah, like Paige and I were both running it. The two people, it was the proof of concept of the franchise that we were working for, was that gym, and it took us a good couple of years, to get it to where it was. The people that were running it were, like they were our mentors at the time, and we learned a lot off them. I ended up stepping out to help them from a corporate level, because they ended up opening 13 studios all at once, from pretty much Sunshine Coast to the Gold Coast, which is a very far distance apart. And then from there, Paige, I can't remember what time Paige stepped out as well, and it was running itself. And then, it's just the corporate side ended up going downhill. And yeah, it was a very messy. Lot was learnt. Jade and myself obviously had a pretty decent investment in there, and as hard as it is to lose money, you never want to lose money in any business. It's just how it went, and we sort of chalk it up to, we could be sad, and it still is an emotional topic for us, but it's one of those things where we learned so much. So we're still very appreciative of what we what we went through, because, we literally wouldn't be able to do Fitribe today if it wasn't for those experiences, albeit some were amazing and we learned a lot of things of what not to do as well.
Yeah, I think you and Paige, knowing the type of people you are, the operators that you are, growing that club to 320 members, I'm going to make a wild guess here. The owners of the franchise thought, wow, this is amazing. We can open up these and every studio is going to get to 320 members. But what they didn't count on is most people aren't like Jake and Paige. And for us, like we had the thought of like, we had 7 locations and we kept running into the problem of finding great staff, right? And it's very, very hard to duplicate yourself.
Yeah, like, you can have great systems and the systems they had thought would stack up, like the studios they opened was a lot. And like obviously hindsight, it wasn't, we were running that gym, but the franchise wasn't ours, like hindsight's always great when you look back, but yeah, it's just having great operators was a very tricky scenario, because obviously at one of the jobs I did have was like managing the studios and, the churn of that, and even Jade was doing some of that as well, and it just became very stressful. People are hard to come by, and good people are very hard to come by.
Yeah, of course. It's always a tricky thing with staff, and it's something that Mitch and I, we are so fortunate, man. We've had 2 staff members that have been with us since 2018. They were actually members of our gym, Steve and Brody. I know Steve watches the podcast. Hey, mate, how are you? And like without them, we couldn't do fitness business consulting. Without them, we couldn't do anything. So gym owners, online coaches, if you have good staff, treat them like your family, pay them what they deserve, what they get deserved, because they are the lifeblood of your business. They really are.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, very, very truly believe that.
Yeah. So we've gone from having gyms, Paige wants another gym, and you mentioned a few times not wanting some of the bills that go associated with a gym. So obviously, short of going around Europe and just living that laptop lifestyle, what else appeals to you about being online?
I just always love the luxury of being able to reach so many people. With health and fitness, there's always a limit of when you're in a certain area, albeit, some areas are, population's a lot more saturated. But I just think, having that reach, being able to, like, we pretty much, we do coach people Australia-wide, pretty much in every single state and territory. We were New Zealand-wide, we're not anymore, but I just think it's such a cool thing to be able to, and more importantly, coach people you want to coach. As much as, we loved the people, the members that were a part of our gym when we were running it, because, they literally were our family and friends. With this, it's like, once you find people you like to coach, it's just easy, because, you know how to coach them, you're confident to know how to coach them, and you're excited to coach them, because, you don't want to just coach people for the sake of earning, these big dollars, which is obviously always a great thing. And, sometimes I even explain it to my family or parents, and they're like, wow, how are you earning so much money from doing it? But I'm like, it just didn't happen overnight. It's been over time.
We've got a guy, a sales guy who lives in Hawaii, and he sells for a pole dancing studio in Adelaide for our done everything service. And you think about, how the fuck can I explain that to mum and dad? How does that even make sense?
Yeah, that's funny. That's good. That's cool.
Yeah, so it's really interesting, right? Just having, I guess, having the avatar, as we'd call it in the online world. And when you do run a gym, because you are limited, for example, 5 to 10 Ks around your gym, you have to be very, very broad with your avatar. And you can have athletes to people that are getting off the couch. So the coaching element is more difficult. So, mate, I want to talk about the 2 niches that you've chosen. Now, the word niche gets thrown around online a lot. And I guess, Jake, like you being the expert here, having the online business, what is a niche, and why have you chosen your 2 niches, and what are they?
Yeah, definitely. And literally over the course of Fitribe's journey, the niche has been an interesting topic of literally between myself, Paige, and Jade, because it has changed. But the one we've always stuck with was, or the 2, I should say, has been nurses and teachers. Now, the way we came across nurses was the one thing that our gym was very close to when we were running it was just down the road from the Griffith or the Gold Coast University Hospital. So we actually had a lot of doctors and nurses that would come to us from there. And yeah, like same scenario, like once you start coaching, you know them, you know how to get them results. So that's why we've always stuck with nurses. And our logic was, since we knew them very, very well, that unfortunately their health and fitness was always something that, albeit they are in health and fitness, or they're, they're looking after more health. Obviously fitness is not as priority, but they're looking after people's health. Their busy schedules they just needed help, because fitting it in was very hard, and understanding that. So that was how we became nurses. And then teachers, my whole family are teachers. So my mum was principal, dad's a teacher, my two older sisters are teachers. I'm the only one in the family that didn't become a teacher. They obviously always joke and say I'm a teacher on a different level, but I joke and say people actually want me to teach them, where theirs could be a whole different debate in itself. And
it's a lot different. It's a lot different people paying you over the phone with a credit card to get teaching
yeah.
funded by the public.
Exactly. And the cool thing about teachers is, it's similar to nurses, albeit that their schedules aren't as crazy as nurses. Nurses have some pretty next level, shift working schedules, but teachers are one of those things as well, where they do very big days. Like I know my family leave at 6 or 7 and don't get back till 5, sometimes later, because they're doing overtime. And, it's being able to help coach them to, understand that there is time in the day. And that's literally how we've got to the 2 niches that we coach. And those 2 niches, we only specialize pretty much in weight loss. Like that's always been what we've always targeted, weight loss in those 2 niches, just because we know it back to front, and it just.
And the reason why those 2 niches might sound weird for anyone that doesn't know, you are solving the same problem for those 2 niches, which are time poor professionals that want to lose weight, that maybe haven't got time to go to the gym. So 100%. If you choose the right niche, we call it problem awareness in sales. If you can speak about their problems, you can articulate their problems better than they can, it's really, really, really powerful. So for example, are you a woman over the age of 50 who struggles with time? Are you going through menopause? Have you got hot flushes? Can you not sleep at night? Do you not feel like yourself? Do you have that event coming up, your son's wedding, that you don't want to get in the photo? And that is how I used to write for my niche for women over 50. And I'm sure you can speak about nurses and teachers' problems until the cows come home.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's always, yeah, like I do the majority of the sales for Fitribe. We've recently brought on a team, which I'm sure we'll talk about soon. But yeah, like it's always the sales. So, I say it's easy in the fact that it's like every time I jump on, I'm like, I know if their goal is to lose weight, like I'm like, I know I can help, and it's obviously easy for me to sell that because, I can always rip in, stories of X, Y, and Z who's done X, Y, and Z as well and lost this amount of weight. So obviously for me, it's very easy to understand, and even like emotionally understanding, how they work as well, because the biggest problem is, like their schedules are mental. Like every time I jump on a call with them, I'm like, I don't actually understand how you do what you do. Like their schedules is absolutely crazy, and they still somehow function. But then it's our job to, prove to them that you can still get and be in the best shape whilst doing what you're doing. And it is possible.
And if you're marketing to those 2 niches and the marketing is on point, the messaging's dialed in, when people get on a sales call with you, the call's almost identical because you're saving the same problem. They haven't got time. They want to lose weight. They're probably lacking energy. And this is an amazing phenomenon. And for all you gym owners out there that do your own sales calls, we do sales calls for gym owners. I will say this, like until I'm blue in the face. I used to sell online programs for $3,640, 26 weeks. I actually think I'm a better salesperson than I'm a marketer. And selling online programs that are really expensive to the perfect niche with the perfect marketing is easier than selling a 28-day challenge for $199. And I can tell you why. Like the spectrum of calls that you get are fucking wild. Like you get a 21-year-old girl who wants to try Pilates. You get a 45-year-old mum who's got pelvic floor issues, who's never done Pilates before. Then you've got the Pilates expert who's going from KX to strong to FS8. So as opposed to knowing how that call is going to flow, you need to have tons of emotional intelligence to understand, well, like, does this person have a strong why? Or do they just want to fucking try Pilates?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, we used to, when we first started Fitribe, everything we used to do, we'd offer a free 28-day challenge. And, in the past, we'd always offer a lot of free things. And sometimes the people you deal with, you look back and you go like, yeah, they were just interesting. Like you'd offer so much and then they didn't want it, which is the other hard thing.
Yeah, because they didn't resonate with your messaging, didn't resonate with your marketing, which is really interesting.
100%. Yeah, it is very interesting.
So, mate, I guess when we kind of got introduced was probably maybe about 2 months ago, and it was around scaling your ad spend to get more leads, to get more sales. But when we spoke, you said to me, and I could not agree more, that your marketing was excellent. Obviously, we've made some tweaks, but you've never had a problem getting leads. What we really focused on was extending your customer lifetime value. And I know Jason's done a huge part of that too. Jason Mutli, big shout out, big fan of you. And you originally went from selling 8 weeks, and now you have a 26-week program and a 52-week program. So do you want to run through that, mate, and how that kind of came about?
Yeah. So obviously, yeah, like we've always been open to having coaches and having people push us and level us up. And yeah, we obviously brought on Jason to help with the sales team, and he really recommended JD. And yeah, I guess there was, at the time we were looking at a lot of agencies, a lot of people out there. But obviously it's hard to find people that understand fitness as well, because that's a whole different kettle of fish, I always find. But yeah, we were promoting 8 weeks and it was working. We were doing a lot of sales, but we were churning through, like looking number wise, like we were probably selling like 8 to 12 a week.
I'm just going to jump in there, mate. It's really scary when something's working and you know that you can do better, and you just have to make that change. And the fear is, if I pull the trigger, do all these 8-week sales dry up?
Yeah. And dead set. Like I'm not going to lie, especially in the first like month, it was definitely a thought for us, because, we were going from 8 to I think our biggest week was like 15 sales, and we were selling $300 8-week programs. So we definitely were not on the high end. And yeah, then see that to like, we're getting like maybe 1 to 3 sort of sales a week initially, and then now we're sort of ramping it up now. But yeah, like we shifted to 26 weeks. Initially, there was it took a bit of a, it was still, the focus was still on the 8 weeks. But yeah, now the ad spends, the Facebook only spends it on the 26 weeks. Like I was having a look last night, and it's like $1 a day sometimes gets spent on the 8 weeks, because we still have it running, but it's just, yeah, like everyone comes in through 26 weeks, and I'm not going to say that actually, maybe I will. I just think they're better, because it's like they've got the longer term mindset compared to that 8 weeks. We still sold the 8-week program, but we were then trying to get them onto a 26-week or a year program, and it did work. Like we were still doing that, but we're just finding that the people that come on are just have that longer term mindset, which is what they need to get results. Like that's literally the bottom line. Like it's not just to get more money out of them. It's literally, if you want to get this result, it is going to take time. Like that's the key.
Yeah, and that goes back to your marketing and messaging and pre-call sequences and getting them ready for 26 weeks. But the only reason why you would sell 8 weeks over 26 or 52 is if you just couldn't get leads at 26-week challenges, or you couldn't get sales at 26 weeks. But I found a similar experience. So like obviously I work with Systems by Design. I say it every podcast, and we used to do 28 days online. And then I went 28 days to 8 weeks to 10 weeks to 12 weeks to 20 weeks to 24 weeks to fuck it, let's just do 26. And the lead cost was identical, which just like, it actually blew me away, because I thought in the consumer's mind, I thought people would rather a short-term challenge. But then on the flip side, there's people out there that just like that haven't gotten a result ever. I think, well, I actually need to commit myself to this process. And when you have those longer challenges, people actually want to commit.
Yeah, like our lead cost is especially the last couple of weeks, has never been this low. Like it's crazy.
$2 $2 and shit.
Yeah, like and obviously like over the week, like I think the average is like because we obviously have the nurse teachers, and we do have a Fit Over 50 campaign running. Literally all of them are at $5, and then I think the teachers is still popping at $4. So like just crazy numbers, and huge, like obviously at the moment we're spending some big dollars for us. Like in the past, we only used to spend, like $100 a day. And that, I thought that was like a monstrous ad budget. Obviously finding out once you jump more into understanding other businesses, you're like, well, that's not really that much, but for us, it was at the time. And Now we're spending just shy of like $300 a day.
I remember my friend told me once that they spent 10K a day on ads. And I just thought, fucking hell, 10K a day. So like literally it's like $400 an hour. So you go out with coffee with your friends, enjoying your coffee, $400 spent. But it all comes back to that ad spend is the LTV. Mm-hmm. And if you're getting 26-week programs or 52-week programs, which I want to explore, by the way, because that's amazing, you can actually spend more money on Facebook. And period, point blank, if you're doing 8-week challenges for $297, realistically, to run a profitable business, the maximum you can pay for a customer is probably around that $50 to $75 mark. However, if you're doing 50 a week times 26 weeks, which is $1,300, you can now spend $200 to $300. And it's a great saying, it is true. The person who can spend the most on marketing will always win. And the fact that you need less sales, it puts less stress on your systems, less stress on your sales team, less stress on page doing fulfillment. It works out a lot better in the end.
Yeah, 100%. Like I think at the moment nurses, I think it costs us about a couple $100 to get a client, and teachers is a little bit less than that, just because it's probably our most successful one at the moment. But yeah, it's just it is interesting when you look back, because even when you say that 10K a day like that seems very, very far away from us. But once again, like, we've 3x'd it just in the past like couple of weeks. So it's like just knowing and having that data. And I think that's been the biggest reason why we initially came to JD, and we said, it's like, there's a barrier for us. Like we were doing well when we brought him on. And that's where it was like all agencies we spoke to were like, hey, like, why do you need us? You're doing really well. But I just said there's a conflicting belief of like, I'm not confident for us to double, triple that ad spend, because I'm like, we don't have that data. And that's been, I think, the biggest confident boost for us to know. Like last week I had a call with JD, he's like, double it. And we did. And this week it's done we're literally going to have our biggest week this week after our conversation from last week. And, it's been,
I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you got in the bank. Spending money on ads is emotional. And if you spend $1,000 a week and get no sales, it's a horrible feeling. But just having 100%. That data to give you confidence to continue to spend. And I think like agencies in particular, and don't get me wrong, I fucking love a cheap lead like everyone else, but there is more numbers to track, especially with online. There is cost per lead. So how much to get a name, phone number, email, cost per booking, how much does it cost you to get a booking, then cost per call, which is the biggest fucking thing with online businesses. It's one thing to get leads, one thing to get bookings, but how much does it cost you to get someone onto a Zoom call with you, your cost per call, which is factoring no-shows, then obviously your costs per sale. I think for you, mate, your leads were always great, your bookings were always great, your sales were always great. It was that third metric which was kind of letting you down, which is just showing up to the phone calls, which is what we worked on, which was like having a really good process before the call to ensure that they watch a video of you and Paige and Jade and get nurtured before that phone call. And like, I truly believe marketing is more important than sales, because good marketing makes sales easy. Bad marketing makes sales incredibly difficult. And I closed over $1 million last year. I don't think that was me. I think it was the marketing. Like my job was to not fuck up the call. And if you have epic marketing and people show up to Zoom calls, your job is to not fuck up the call.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, like, and that's where you want to get it to. So, mate, the numbers that we're tracking at the moment, I guess for you to scale your ad spend budget, so what are you charging for 26 weeks at the moment? What's your LTV?
So it's 1,800 for a PIF, and then also paid in full, and then it's 2,100 for payment plan, and then.
Okay, and the discount on the PIF, like the $300 discount, do you find that is a big enough number to get enough people taking it up, or like how do you feel about that at the moment?
Yeah, like it's obviously it's the one thing, and this is where it's hard. And I've reached out to Jason about this, because obviously right now, I do a lot of the sales for our current business. We've, like I said, really newly brought on a sales team, and got a couple of people that are doing really well, but it's just a training thing for them and getting them more confident, etc. So for me, I always find, because I have that emotional attachment to Fitribe, I never want to lose a sale. So I'm not as good at getting as much money up front. So that's the biggest downfall for me as a salesperson. But
I want to unpack that. I'm going to go full sales coach on you at the moment. Why are you scared to pitch the full amount, or is because the full amount is a lot higher than 297? Where is the barrier there?
Yeah, like it's just the biggest thing has been like, when we haven't had a lot of sales in the week, and then, if I'm going in for the PIF price, then it's like, then there's the risk of like, oh, I'm going to lose it's just a barrier. Like it's dumb. Like it's dumb for me looking back.
That is so interesting because you just made 26K in 5 days. You're on 20K month run rate. Your business has never been better, but you still have the fear around the sale. And it just shows because you absolutely fucking care. Yeah. And I remember when I'd have a lady on the phone over 50 and I knew we could help her, if I didn't close her, it would keep me up at night. I would like, if she's failed to lose weight 10 times and I thought like, did I ask the wrong question? Did I have the wrong tonality? Did I pitch the wrong way? And I took responsibility for her not making that change almost.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. But it's, it's always one of those things where I'm not against like going for the paid in full, because I do believe people that pay in full, it's literally proven they take it more serious. Like I just know, I know that to be true. And sometimes I even say that to people. I'm like, the more commitment you have up front, it's going to be better for you. It's not just for me to get more money out of you. It's literally for you to prove, because it's like anything, you're putting a lot of money down. It's like why after paying things like that, you don't worry about it. So I'm paying it off over the year. Then there's less, when they have that big money up front, it's like, well, I got to take this seriously. Like that's just that mindset shift for them as well as a client.
Yeah, this is my exact pitch, man. I'm not sure if I ever told you this. It was like, let's cover the program investment. If you feel like we're a good fit, we can take the appropriate next steps. Cost of our program up front saves you $400 is $2,997. Pause. Shut the fuck up. And it is so hard to pause there because you think, is this person going to hang up?
Yeah.
Or sometimes you just go, yeah, that's cool. And then, or we do have options where we can break it down over a 3, 6, 9, or 12-month period. What option do you think would work better for you? And I think particularly for fitness professionals that may not be in, I'm not saying this is you, by the way, that may not be in the best financial position, that have never outlaid $2,997 or $1,800 in your case over the phone, because they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't pay that much over the phone. They would opt for the payment plan. They think, well, why would anyone do that? But if the marketing is great, they love your brand, they love your message, they've gone through the process, you've taken them through an amazing call, by the end, they are ready to buy. They are ready to pay in full. And I think some people think sales is like, I've tricked them into this sale. I've tricked them into paying me $1,800 up front. It is proven if you pay up front, you are going to get a more committed client. And at the end of the day, like we are still getting people results.
Definitely. No, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, it's the shutting up bit. Yeah, that's right. Definitely, it's definitely my downfall, because I'm a talker, and like, which is against my whole personality. I'm actually very like shy by nature, but when it comes to like sales and knowing like I'm a completely different person. But yeah, it's just like that's always the thing, right? Like, so everything I've always done with sales has always been self-taught, never been something like, before I worked in fitness, I worked at a computer and didn't talk to anyone each day. So, very different fields. So we just got to keep learning, keep growing, right?
The staying silent and pausing on a sales call or consultation is so hard, but sometimes you just need to give them room to breathe. So a great question would be the cost of inaction. So if you don't achieve this over the next 2 weeks, 2 months, or a decade, what would that look like for you? You pause there. They're literally thinking about, well, like, what would that actually look like? And I see salespeople jump in, what it look like this. And if you miss the mark, you can really ruin the rapport. Or like, what is your goal? Do you want to lose weight to fit into a dress size, to go to this? Or it's like, no, I want to lose weight because I've got diabetes. And it's just sometimes you just need to shut up.
Definitely. No, I definitely agree with that.
So, mate, 52 weeks. What are you doing for that? What is the price for that?
So it's $3,000 up front, and then the payment plan is they're all our payment plans are just 20% more than the paid in full. That was the logic behind it. And so that over the year it's $3,500 for the payment plan, which is good. We've got a couple. Once again, it's where I've got a PIF for the 6 months. I haven't got a PIF for the year yet. one of our sales team member has. So he, which is pretty exciting. It was cool to see, because it's, that was for us, that was a big step for us, was bringing on a sales, bringing on a team of people as well. Seeing that come in was like, for us, that was a really big step in our business, because it always relied on us, which is a cool stage. We wanted to take that, that next step.
And with that cash collection, it's so important, right? Because let's just say that you were spending 100 a day on ads. Now you're spending 200 a day. You're spending 1,400 a week. If you can get one PIF a week at 6 months, you cover your ad spend. And if you can get 2 PIFs a week, you can then double your ad spend again. And the way I set up an online business, if your cash collection in the same week can cover your ad spend or obviously exceed it, that is your ad budget. And then if you have an amazing coaching program, you get results, the direct debit just builds and builds and builds and builds until you have 100 people paying 100 people paying 100 a week. And then your direct debit is 10K a week.
Yeah, which is it's cool. It is exciting to see that grow, because it's only been the last sort of couple of months that we've, upped those prices since really coming on with yourself, so it's been cool to see that grow. And yeah, it's some exciting times ahead for sure.
Yeah, the price is a funny thing, mate, because like if someone's buying a program for 89 or 97, it is the exact same decision. It really is. Like the $8 isn't going to break the bank either way. Don't get me wrong, there is a sticking point for everything in life. But like if we're talking about $5 to $10, you're crazy. Like, you're crazy if you think that impacts you. And if it does, that's a belief around money that you have. And this is not the podcast to talk about the psychology of money. But mate, I understand. That's unbelievable, right? So like 25K in 6 days, you are going to have your biggest month. I think the biggest thing for us has just been, just tracking the data and just almost giving you permission to spend more money on ads. Like just do it.
Yeah, literally. Like that was we obviously, with working with JD, we had our call last week, and yeah, like coming off it, he was like, yeah, just double it, and then literally it was just before the weekend, and the weekend, like we had so many, leads came in, and, we don't really work on Saturday or Sunday. We sometimes do some triages, but then, yeah, literally Monday we had like 52, I said in the end, 52 triage calls booked just on that Monday. It was absolutely, ridiculous. It was our biggest day ever we've had of triages booked across the team. So it was pretty cool to see those, sort of trickle into what we're doing.
And I could make an argument, mate, that this is the worst 2 weeks of the year to have an online fitness business in terms of it's middle of winter, tax time, end of financial year. So I can only assume that like your booking rate, your show rate, your close percentage will be even higher as the months progress. Well, mate, we've gone long, but I want to talk about something really, really important and near and dear to my heart. And that is, I guess, being in business with partners. And the challenges that it does bring. So for anyone out there, I've been in a business partnership with my best friend from high school since 2006, Mitchell Doan. We are the exact opposite. We have the opposite qualities. I'm good at marketing and sales. He is logistics operations. So talk to me through your partnership with Jade and Paige, and what roles do you fulfill? And like, how do you kind of like not keep each other, I guess keep each other accountable?
Yeah, definitely. Like, and I wouldn't have it any other way, like it's always the three of us work very, very well. Like we traveled together for 6 months through Europe. We've all run the gym together before. But yeah, we all just play very different roles. Like Jade, my partner, she really took over like CEO and direction of where Fitribe was taking. Plus she is our marketing like whiz. She's very creative, which Paige and I are very far from. We have no creative bone in our body. So it was very helpful in that aspect. Paige is our logistics, so systems, back end, fulfillment, everything like that. And then
I am so bad at fulfillment. It's not funny.
Yeah. But it's like, it was just understanding like who plays better roles. Like that was the cool thing when we were traveling. Like we really figured out, no, I'm better at this, you're better at this. And then, I took on like head of sales / advertising, and obviously right now I'm not head of sales, but we brought on a team member, which we have Jason now, but I'm still part of that sales team just because I do really like doing sales. And then, yeah, like we just all stay in our own lanes. Like that's the coolest thing. We all have a weekly meeting, making sure that everything each week is progressing and everyone knows what that next direction is of where we are heading. And we're not perfect. Like each time, we've made lots of mistakes and we learn all the time. And, sometimes we do butt heads, but we always just come back, over the last nearly, year and a bit that we've worked together, plus when we ran the gym, so a couple of years, like we've never really had any huge fights. Even when we were traveling, there was never any big fights, just because we sort of know what that direction of what we're trying to, where we're trying to go to, so it's all just hold hands and let's make it a lot easier. And it's fun. That's the reason why we always did what we did, because we wanted to have that, a fun business, as much as that's an interesting word to use in business sometimes, but it is like I enjoy it. We seriously enjoy what we do. So it makes it easy.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, right? Because like you may have disagreements, but the mission is the same. 3 different people just have a different path to get there, and one person's always right. And if you can remove the emotion and just logically have that discussion without getting your feelings hurt, you want the same thing. So it's just like, what is the fastest way to get there with the least amount of trouble? I think it's a Jeff Bezos quote where it's just like, be relentless on the vision, but flexible on the details. So the vision is Fitribe, 7-figure online business. The details could be maybe you do 8 weeks, maybe you do 26 weeks, maybe it goes 2 years, like who knows? And that's where that data is so important. Just to go back to, hey, like this is what I'm seeing from my end. What are you seeing from your end?
Yeah, definitely. And like, obviously, Jade's my partner. We've been together for 10 years now. So obviously, like sometimes she comes with an idea and then sometimes I have to disagree. And obviously that's another hurdle in itself, right? Because, we live together, we have a baby on the way. So, but it's just understanding that like, we are in business and there will be times where we will butt heads, but, at the end of the day, it's just coming to that, like you said, coming back to what that vision is and, knowing that it's not crumbling down. Like there's never we're at a very good stage now in our business where it's like it'd be pretty hard for things to really struggle because what we've sort of built, and we built a pretty good foundation. But no, I just think I love it. I love working with the 2 girls just because we all get along very well, which I think's a really good thing and hard thing.
It's one thing that I really underestimated before working with fitness business owners is how lucky I am to have Mitch, because you want to share your wins. And you want to celebrate together. And also you want to share your losses and pick each other back up. Because 100%. Like no one will understand the journey you're on. You cannot talk to your teachers, your parents who are teachers about this online business traveling around the world. So
they still 2 years in, they don't know what we do. They literally always try and explain it to them and they're very confused. I think they might understand a little bit, but it's an interesting conversation.
Me and Mitch have had one fight since 2006. It was 2011 in San Diego. We were hammered at Hermosa Beach in California. And we're going through the drive-through. We're walking through McDonald's. Weren't driving, obviously. And I was just pleading for a drink. I was dying of thirst. Can I have a Coke Zero? Can I have a Coke Zero? Can I have a Coke Zero? I finally got one. And all of a sudden, it was so out of character. He smacked it out of my hands. And that's honestly the only time we've ever had a fight. I'm like, why'd you do that? Like, I was thirsty. we honestly, like night of COVID, gyms are closing down. We've never, ever had a fight. And I think it's just like,
that's awesome.
It's really interesting, mate, because like when we went to the accountants in 2014, they literally warned us, hey, do not get into a partnership because things change. And I think for me and Mitch, so Mitch is going to be a father. I'm not sure if that's public knowledge yet, but even I want to be a dad next year too. So like our goals are so aligned, and it sounds ridiculous, but our mortgages are the same price. We live a very, very similar lifestyle. We're going to have kids at the same time. Because imagine if I wanted to buy a house that was 4 times as much, Mitch is very comfortable with his house, and I want growth, and he wants to be a dad, right? So like being in a business partnership, it goes beyond the business. It's like, are your personal goals aligned?
100%. That's the key. Yeah, that last, what you just said there, that's the key. If anyone listens to, they want to go on with a friend and understand. I'm not against, because I have friends that, even just like me working with Jade, my partner, they're like, how do you guys do that? Like, because so many people it doesn't work for. But, Jade and I have been lucky. We've worked together for quite a while, some, on and off, not the whole time, since we've been together, but I love it. Like, we seriously love it. Her mum and dad were exactly the same. They ran businesses together. So, maybe that was a bit of an inspiration, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Thing with me and Mitch, like, people think they're close with their friend. And I'm like, me and Mitch are fucking close. Like, I talk to my best friend for 4 hours a day. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when you run a business, it's another level of friendship, right? Like, with age, it's like, I probably know too much, and some things I probably don't want to know, but I have to know, or I just get told, or, she tells me. And I think it's the cool thing. Like, you don't know what that level is until you do, you're in the crux of trying to build a business together.
It's just a trade. It's a crazy amount of trust. I've said this before, and it's true. Like, I've never actually checked our bank account. So Mitch does all the accounting, all the bookkeeping. He transfers me money. I've literally never looked. That is the level of trust that we have with each other. And the same thing where, like, I can go buy stuff in the business and he won't question me. He can go buy rolls for the gym and I won't question him. We just have such a mutual respect for each other's, I guess, strengths.
Yeah. Like, we had a story throughout the week. Literally, Paige had we moved it to a high interest bank account, and we didn't have access to it. And Paige deals with all the dollars, and Jade and I were like, "Fuck, where's all this money gone?" We were like, you could see it transfer out, and I'm like, shit. And then Paige's like, "Oh yeah, I moved it to here," and we're like, "Okay, cool." Like, it is having that, that trust, because she deals with all the monetary side. So, I think that's a good thing to have. But obviously, when you first start into a partnership, if you've never done that before, that's built up over time. You don't want to. Also, I've seen some downsides to, the partnerships over I'm sure you have as well. People.
Yeah, well, I almost entered into a bit of a bad partnership last year, and it was my fault too. There wasn't, red flag's the wrong word, but just there was a few things that happened very, very, very early on that was a red flag, and then I wanted to make it work, and then I went against every instinct that my body was telling me, and then ended up not ending great, right? So just like, almost trust the instinct. And a good thing would be, like, if you're having the shittest day of your life, can you call that partner and can you talk about it?
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, because a big goal of Jade and I is always to want to go into business with friends, but sometimes I'm like, there's not actually very many that we would do it with, because of literally that, what you just said there.
It's almost like if you want to jump on it, like, if you are ever like, oh fuck, I gotta go on Zoom with this guy again. Like, if you ever have that, like, if your phone rings and it's your partner and you just like that look, don't start a business partnership, because things are going to go wrong.
Yeah,
like 100%.
When you first start something, it's all smooth sailing, and it's like starting a health and fitness program. You're excited, then there's a hurdle, and then it's getting over that hurdle. And, if you can't have faith or trust that person to get over it, or they're just going to quit or leave, then, sometimes you gotta learn the hard way. That was the same for us. We learned some very hard things, and we lost a good amount of money, but would we change it? Maybe, but I'm also, like I said, we got over it, and we're appreciative of what happened in the past.
Yeah. So me and Mitch have the agreement that if I die, Ellen gets 20% of the business for the rest of her life. Like, we've had that discussion, like take care of Ellen if I die all of a sudden. Like, but that isn't a legal document, right? Like, maybe it should be. I don't know. I need to ask Ellen about that.
Yeah, I think we actually have we have a legal document. It's broken down if something happens. Yeah, I think you should get that legalized.
Well, mate, I always talk about leads, marketing, and sales, but the business partnership is something that I'm really, really passionate about, because if you have got that person, then do it. Obviously, you make half as much money, but I think for me, like, when I had my knee surgery, for example, I had 3 days off and I had no stress in my life, because I knew Mitch would take care of it. He's about to be a father. I'll take care of that paternity leave. And I think for business owners that I talk to that are solopreneurs, they'll have a drastic life event where they go through a breakup or a separation, and like their mind is so much in their personal life that their business just goes on the back burner for a month. And if you don't pay attention to a fitness business for a month, like a lot can go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Like, that was a big thing for us. Like Jade, it's our first baby on the way. She's 35 weeks pregnant, literally like yesterday. Anytime it could happen. And yeah, like Paige is ready to go. And, we've obviously, we have Paige, but we also have a team of people now, which definitely adds another level of calmness, I would say, about it. But yeah, I agree with that. If you stop running a fitness business or, doing triage calls, doing sales calls, it's going to be an interesting month.
Well, mate, we've gone about 22 minutes long, but I've got one final question. What is the future of Fitribe, and how do you see the next 12 months going?
Yeah, the future for Fitribe is we want to be the #1 female destination for health and fitness. Like that's always been the vision of ours. And we've never delved away from that. Our goal, our big lofty goal for this year was to turn over $1 million. Going from $250,000 to $1 million. Was it lofty? Yes. I'd say a couple months ago, I didn't think we were on track for that whatsoever. But this, the last couple months has given us a lot more confidence. Like our goal this month alone is to try and have like 3x our biggest month. Like we want to try and, turn over your contract revenue, hit that 75K mark. For us, numbers, and if you're a PT listening to us, it's not, or, even if you're not a PT or business owner, but then it's just the people we get to help from that. That's always the coolest thing. And I think, money tree is a cool figure to talk about, but it's always a goal of knowing like, from that, the amount of people we're going to help is astronomical. And yeah, some really exciting things. Like I truly believe that we're still on track for that goal. There was a little bit of doubt there, but the last sort of couple of months is, with your guidance, I could say, and of course, Jason as well, I'm sure if he listens to this, but has been very helpful, and we're very appreciative of, it's important. If you guys listen to this, have good people around you and not be afraid to have good people around you, because they will level you up. And that's why I've always believed in having coaches, because, it just makes you do it faster. Sometimes you can do it on your own, but it's faster.
Yeah.
That's
well, mate, I don't want to take any credit for Fitribe's success. And the reason being is the best clients that I work with, they're already 97% of the way there. There's literally 3 things that we can unlock. And it might be like, hey, add this, add this, add this. And you think, well, like Jamie didn't do much at all. But then those 3 things, like Jason adding in like a longer membership, maybe adding in a contract, those last 3 or 4 things are what take you from 6 figures to 7 figures. So for any other gym owners out there or online coaches, sometimes like you might think your world's crumbling, you might think the world's on fire. You're literally 3 moves away.
Yeah. Yeah, like literally February this year, guys, we were at a stage where we were like, maybe Fitribe is, we're over our heads here. But now fast forward to now, that's another 4 or 5 months past that. It's like we're having the best, that we're going to have the best month. I think today we could have our best month, and it's only 6 days into the month. So it's just it's exciting. Stay true. There's ups, downs, sideways in business, but it's just knowing, and don't get. Don't lose that vision, because obviously like we have a baby on the way. So that was always our added stress. Like, hey, maybe I'm going to have to go get a job, because sometimes business, there's ups and there's downs, but now we've built it to a stage, we were very lucky where I'm not going to have to go get a job. We're in a very good place, and I hope other people can be in the same situation.
A few of my mentors, mate, and like the #1 person that people look up to in our industry is Alex Hormozi, hands down, right? 2017, he had $1,000 in his bank account. Now he's going to be the next Gary Vee. Like, I'm not saying any of us are as skilled or as talented or as smart as Alex Hormozi, but things can turn around really fucking quickly. They really,
100%.
really can. They really, really can. Well, Jake, I've really, really enjoyed our chat, mate. Thank you so much for coming on. I might have to get Paige on and Jade at one point to see what their version of the story is, because everyone's different.
100%. I'm sure they would. I'm sure they'd love it. Thank you so much. Cool. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, mate.
Thanks, mate.